What's good with it, people? Happy Sunday. Lyricist Lounge. Today, I want to take you to 2008, and shout out to all my subscribers that fuck with me. For y'all, especially the ones that want me to start doing lyrics again. So let's get to it, right? So I'm gonna take you to 2008. And the person I'm about to sit up here and bring up, oh my gosh. When I heard his mixtape, I was in complete awe the very first time I heard his mixtape. And I'm talking about Joe Buttons, okay? Today we're going to talk about the lyrics of Joe Buttons and what Joe Buttons has, his contributions to hip hop, and as well as what he's meant to me as an artist and somebody that was going through some tough times and kind of just helped me along the way. Even though I never met Joe Buttons, I'm from the West Coast, Joe from the East, but his lyrics touched me. You know what I'm saying? So let's get to it. First time I heard Joe Buttons, right? Like everybody else did, we heard the Pump It Up. I was never a radio person that liked the radio songs. I mean, yeah, there was certain songs, of course, on the radio that you like, but I was never a radio person that liked radio songs. Joe Buttons put out Pump It Up. Pump It Up was hella clean. Pump It Up was everywhere, okay? Pump It Up was everywhere. In fact, Joe Buttons, right? Joe was on the video game, the Def Jam fighting game that they had. And I never, at that time, I didn't hear his album, right? I just heard that Joe Buttons was hella nice when it came to lyrics, you know. And at that time, we had the Fabulous, and being from the West Coast, right? Shout out to Fabulous. Fabulous was kind of like he was in between Mace and LL Cool J, you know what I'm saying? But I would hear Fab talk about Joe Buttons. It wasn't until 2008 till I heard Mood Music, okay? I heard number 2 first before I heard number 1. And when I heard, what was it? Yeah, Dear Diary, Mood Music 3, I instantly fell in love with. That album brought me a lot of closure to a lot of shit that was going on in my life. And it was just so ironic how it stumbled into me even buying that album. I forget what website I was on, but everybody was talking about this mixtape with Joe Buttons. And at the time, I wasn't on Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne was having mixtapes, but I wasn't really on Lil Wayne at that time. But when I heard Joe Buttons' lyrics, when I found out that was Mew Music 3, I had to get Mew Music 2, Mew Music 1. Mew Music 2 had the 3 sides to a story: Stain, Dumb Out, and If I Die Tomorrow. Go listen to them songs. 3. New Music 3 has Star Inside of Me, Four Walls, Roll Call, Family Reunion featuring Ransom Fabulous and Hitchcock. Pray for them. Oh, my bad. Pray for them with New Music 4, right? I do have my notes, you know what I'm saying? So I am looking at this as I go through. But to keep it 100 with you, Four Walls. When you listen to Four Walls, go listen, go, man. Even his story on his Def Jam disc, y'all go listen to the Def Jam disc. And it was funny because at that time, right, Def Jam is kind of going through a process because they're making a lot of money off of Jeezy, a lot of money off of Rick Ross at the time, right? And I remember the growth. His second album that was supposed to be released on Def Jam was talked about. And it was everybody. I can't lie to you. I was on that hype where I wanted to hear it. You can go listen to Gangster Party featuring Nate Dogg, right? That's on YouTube. Go listen to that. Joe Buttons is dope lyrically. And it's no wonder that he would then become a member of Slaughterhouse, right? Lyrically, Joe Buttons is fucking amazing. Pray, pray for me. Listen to that. Follow My Lead, featuring Joel Ortiz. Go listen to that. Joe Buttons is more of a introspective type of rapper. He's always talking about himself, which to me has helped me even with my writing to where, guess what, I'm talking about real shit. Go listen to some of my poetry. I'm talking about real shit. Shit that affects everybody in the community. He was and he has some real ass content. Okay. Sometimes we can get confused with radio, right? And even within his own lyrics, he's talking about how he didn't want to really make radio hits. That wasn't him. And as he grew in his career, you can see that, guess what? He didn't need the radio hits. Some people don't need radio hits. Joe Buttons had a following, just like the following that Tyler the Creator has. Joe Buttons had a following. Joe Buttons had Joe Buttons TV back in the day that I used to tune into. Okay? Because Joe Buttons was hella interesting to listen to. As look at his podcast now. He has the one of the best podcasts regarding hip hop. You know what I'm saying? He has that. His charisma. That was all played out. As a fan of Joe Buttons, I'm not surprised that people find him entertaining and that he has the best podcast. Because if you listen to his lyrics, he's not entertaining wise. He has a message in his lyrics. One of the messages that I got from his lyrics, okay, was never stop. Whatever your dream is, keep going. He was on the best record company that is still around now, Def Jam. For you to get dropped from Def Jam and for you to be able to put in the penmanship, the work, dropping the mixtapes. Padded Room comes out. Go listen to Padded Room. Padded Room is, oh my God. Pray for Me. When you listen to Pray for Me, right? I remember hearing Pray for Me. And I sat there stuck. Shit. This always happens. This always happens. I sat there stuck. I sat there stuck when I listened to Pray for Me. I sat there stuck because at that time, that was how I was feeling. And I couldn't express it in the way that he could express it. I gave that song to my kid's mom. Me and her listened to it together, actually. And like I said, we were in awe. Padded Room, man, go listen to Padded Room. Go listen to Padded Room is an unbelievable album. Then he hits us with Music 4. Go listen to Halfway House. Escape Route. Joe Buttons had a nice fucking run. And I appreciate real fucking truthful lyrics. I appreciate that shit. Because there was a time where we didn't have that. We were getting watered down ass lyrics. We was getting the Doughboy. And everybody's not a fucking drug dealer. Yet that was being, at that time, because let's really keep it 100 with you, right? Let's keep it 100. Joe Butts was better than Jeezy. Joe Butts better than Rick Ross. They didn't promote Joe. That's what was selling. Joe has a song with Nate Dogg. Go listen, y'all. Go listen to it. Now, of course, it's about to sound different now, but go back and think about in that era. That song would have been hella big. My reason for this is my reason for the reason why I felt like Def Jam. I do feel like Def Jam was going to, they shelved Joe Buttons because then you got Nas coming over there, right? Nas wound up coming over there. I'm trying to remember back in that time frame. And Jay was the man. Now, according to certain sources, right? And y'all can go look this up. But Joe was Dame Dash, as a matter of fact, Joe Buttons was supposed to be on the Rock. Which, think about that for a second. Think about Joe Buttons being on Rockefeller. Think about that. Now, would we have got to save Joe? Because I feel like what made Joe was what makes any artist or writer, I should say, is what it is that you're going through, and you're able to express what you're going through, put it in your music. Joe put it in his music. His relationship with Tahiri, shout out to Tahiri, he put it in the music. Joe wore his heart on his sleeve when it came to him writing his lyrics down. And I am so appreciated. I appreciate him, his, just what he put into the game, and him not taking the easy route, and just for him to sit up here and put out some music that was going to make us dumb. None of his fans, right, were or were naive to his struggles. Joe Buttons became my favorite artist just because he was easy to relate to. For me, yes, I put Joe Buttons in one of my top five lyricists because he was. His lyrics not only, mind you, I'm from the West Coast, but I felt what the fuck he was going through. It was almost like I was experiencing in real time what he's going through as far as the record. Just not everything, but certain things. Shout out to Joe Buttons. Shout out to Joe Buttons. Shout out to we look at Joe Buttons now, right, and we give him all the credit because, like I said, his podcast is dope as hell. But go listen to his music, and you would appreciate Joe in a different way. You would just appreciate Joe Buttons in a whole different way. Joe Buttons is a solid ass artist. And just because he didn't get the radio hits, Joe was able to get a following of fans. And Joe fans fuck with him hard. Okay, Joe fans fuck with him hard. If there's certain people who just have a cult, like Tech Nine has a cult of his fans or a cult, they just nothing that you cannot say about Tech Nine. Shout out to Tech Nine. But Joe Buttons also has that same fan base. You can't say shit about Joe Buttons does. We fuck with Joe Buttons. Go listen to his music. Go listen to his music. And to keep it 100 with you, like I said, I've always found Joe Budden. Joe Budden's TV was popular. So, like I said, it's fitty to see where he's at right now. And let's keep it 100 with you. Joe could go in if he really wanted to, just on the industry, right? everything else is actually a bonus. But his industry talk is so unique because there's a lot of people that get blackballed and we don't hear from them again. Joe didn't let that shit happen. Joe did not let that happen. Joe was one of the first artists, not gonna say the first, Pac was, but Joe had me question certain things. He had me question authority. Go listen to, like I said, go listen to Joe Buttons, man. Joe Buttons, Joe Buttons is dope. Even his last two albums that he had, I enjoyed. His last two albums became the commercial success, right? Not sure about how much he sold, but and even like I said, even with Slaughterhouse, the two albums that they put out, as far as an underground, and I do feel, right, let me just say this real quick, right, within the Slaughterhouse situation, I do feel like them going to Shady kind of impacted the groups. It impacted the groups because if you listen to their first album, when you listen to their first album, right, and I was, to keep it 100 with you, I was not sold on them going to Shady. I'm going to just keep it 100 with you. As a fan, I wasn't sold on them going to Shady. I felt like Shady was more so a cop-out record company, and it was more so Royce knew M, close friends grew up together, and so that was an easy way, but I felt like it hindered Slaughterhouse a little bit, if that makes any sense. Because I felt like, put it to you this way, each and every one of them that was in Slaughterhouse, right? Royce, Joe, Crooked, Joel, all had been on major albums, major labels, and it didn't work out. So why go to a major as a group? You understand? As a fan base, I think we would have appreciated Slaughterhouse just being independent. They didn't need, and that's just for me. I'm not inside, so please, Slaughterhouse members, don't take any shots. But to keep it 100 with you, like I said, as a fan base, right? I felt like they didn't need, they didn't need, they didn't need him. We didn't hear M on the first album. Now, if we heard M on the first album, hell yeah, hell yeah. But we didn't hear M on the first album, so they could have went anywhere. I just felt like that kind of hindered, because let's keep it 100 with you, that album wasn't the first album. Slaughterhouse first album, not. Okay? And shout out, because I love each and every member of Slaughterhouse, right? were on Let's Keep It Out There With You. We were on. We heard about Joel because he was on Aftermath. We fucked with Crooked. Crooked was with Suge. Royce, we knew about Royce even back then. Even when Renegade came out, they said that Royce was the original person on Renegade. So we know Royce was incredible. Come on, bro. Everybody in Slaughterhouse had a moment. Okay. So I feel like it hindered their growth as MCs because, like I said, they didn't need Shady. They didn't need Shady. They didn't need Shady because usually we it's good. Usually Cameron is probably the only one. I'm not gonna say the only one, but was the last artist to go to a major label. Now you did have, and when I mean major label, I mean to Cameron went to Rockefeller, right? Mystical went to No Limit. Pac went to Death Row. You had E40 go to Little John, right? So, and I'm trying to think, um, who would have, who y'all can put in the comments who would be the latest artist to go to, you know what I'm saying? And I don't mean like necessarily a Def Jam, because Nas went to Def Jam. I'm talking about, like, Nas supposed to go to Murder Inc. That never happened. Something like that type of label. But yeah, like, and it never, sometimes it just doesn't work. In those cases, it worked, right? Tupac going to Death Row. E40 making a incredible album with Little John. A classic album. Too Short, he did it first. You know what I'm saying? But he, not necessarily, yeah, Too Short went, I don't know if he went to Little John, no. You know what I'm saying? And Little John at the time wasn't as big as he was in 2000 and what, 12 or 13 when E40 and them dropped. But however, Joe Buttons he's a master at his craft. And, we have to give our flowers to the people that's here right now. So, all flowers given to Joe Buttons and his movement. And shout out to Joe Buttons, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, he lyrically he lyrically is that dude. But I'm out. Peace.